What's up, everybody?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Move over that way a little bit.
This way?
Yeah. Yeah, move over a little bit
Are
too.
you sure?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
What's happening? What's happening? Let me get my voice together. It's Saturday night. It is Saturday night, and as such, it's time for Have a Conversation After Dark.
Yes, yes, yes. We are back.
We are back.
Welcome back. If you haven't seen us, that's because we haven't been here. If we haven't talked to you, Happy New Year. I don't think we've been here all year. Right?
We have not been here all year. That's true. This is our first Saturday night back since January, since the year started. So Happy New Year for those of you who haven't seen us. Listen, it's Saturday night. It's time for Have a Conversation After Dark.
Mm-hmm.
This is a show that is merely designed to get you to have conversation. What we do is we put an issue on the table and we hope that it'll spark some good conversation between you and your mate. Because, and we say this at the beginning and at the end of every show, conversation is a catalyst for
growth.
Conversation is a catalyst for
bonding.
And conversation is a catalyst for
learning.
And you should want to grow with your spouse.
Yeah.
You should want to learn about your spouse. You should want to bond with your spouse.
Definitely.
So, what better way to do that than through some really engaging conversation?
Mm-hmm.
So, before we get into the conversation, there are a couple of things that we want to share with you. Number one is on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do a show called Inside the Relationship. Inside the Relationship is a little bit different than this show because inside the relationship, the goal of that show is actually to provide you with some tools and to leave you with some things that you can try right then and there. So we talk about all things relationships. in hope that it will be an encouragement to you
Mm-hmm.
and will leave you with something that will enhance your relationship. So if you are not familiar with that show, wherever you're watching this right now, go back and check out episodes of Inside the Relationship. We got some great guests coming up. Um, one guest we have coming up is Tanique Gentles.
She's great.
Tanique Gentles is a sex
She's
therapist.
great. She's great.
And the reason why I mentioned Tanique Gentles is because this is after dark, and typically a lot of the topic after dark topics are sex related topics. Tonight is no different. So you
Well,
really want to be around for Tanique Gentles. Well, not really sex.
not
It's not really
really
sex,
sex related.
but it's bedroom stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Bedroom stuff. So be on the lookout for that. The other thing that we want to share is that on March 23, 2025, this show, for those of you who follow us on this show, you know we've always been talking about the fact that we would love to do this in front of a live audience. Well,
We are going
this is the
to.
first one.
The first one, it's going to be on the 23rd, a couple days after my birthday. So come on out and celebrate with us if you are in the DMV area. Um, this show that we're doing now is going to be an event that we do live and in person in Columbia, Maryland. And so we want you to come out. Instead of putting your comments or questions in the chat, you can ask us live. You can talk to us live and in person. And we'll have some topics that we'll talk about that kind of like what we typically talk about here. Get your input, get your questions,
Mhm.
throw questions at us. We are going to have a live DJ. We're going to have some spoken word. It's going to
It's going to
be
be a nice vibe.
a really nice vibe
It's going to be a
for
nice
my
vibe.
birthday.
Now, for those of you who are not in the Maryland, Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia area, fret not, because
Fret
although
not.
this is the first one, we want to do some in a few different places. We have some places in mind, and we're going to start reaching out to some people. Philadelphia, be on the lookout.
Yeah.
Delaware, be on the lookout. New York, be on the lookout. Hartford, Connecticut, be on the lookout. And that's north. Now, then we're looking at Atlanta, be on the lookout. We're trying to do some things in some different cities. So we will,
Huntsville.
we're going to try to do as many of these, take this show on the road.
We're going to
It,
tour all
yeah,
over the nation.
sparks great conversation. And so we
Mhm.
want you to be a part of that in person. All right. Last thing we'll say before we get into this conversation tonight is if you're watching this now live, or if you are watching the replay, please hit the share button and share it with somebody.
Yeah.
That's it. That's our only ask, is to share it with somebody. All right. So here's tonight's topic.
Tonight's topic is that's what you're wearing to bed?
So it kind of comes from, and I mentioned inside the relationship earlier, it kind of comes off the heels of a conversation or something that was mentioned in inside the relationship, right? So we
Yep.
were talking about complacency. We're talking about complacency versus contentment.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the illustrations that you brought out was that at some point you had started wearing, the big baggy t-shirts and all that kind of stuff to bed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And realize, wait a minute.
This is not sexy looking at all. Not very attractive looking at all.
So before you and I talk about us, because that's
Mhm.
typically what we do for those of you who are new to this, the question that I have for you is, those of you who are watching, one, does it matter what your spouse wears to bed?
Mm-hmm.
And two, have you ever talked about it if it does matter? That's the question.
Yeah. I think
And
that
maybe I should put that. I'm gonna put that up. But go ahead while you're doing. I'm gonna put that up.
I think that I don't know, maybe I shouldn't speak for everyone, but I'm assuming that not too many couples have this conversation. I don't know why I'm assuming that, but I just feel like that is the way that it is. I know for us, I don't think we ever had the conversation during the time that I was wearing these big, baggy, faded, sometimes holes in it
Mhm.
t-shirts to bed. I don't recall that we ever had a conversation about it.
So I don't think we ever talked about it until you came to me and was
Right.
like, you know what? I really want to do something different.
Yeah.
What's your preference?
Yes.
Up until that point, I had never said, hey, you know what? I don't really like you wearing them things to bed. I think I might have joked about the hiding the scarf or something
Yeah.
maybe once or twice.
Well, the scarf is a whole nother
That's a whole different
that's a
ball
whole
game.
nother ball game
Yeah,
because I feel like that has to happen for a lot of us women of color.
it has to happen. Shout out to Rochelle
Well,
in the comments. What's up, Rochelle? Rochelle said, yes, it matters.
hi, Rochelle. It
It
does
it
matter.
matters.
It does. The reason why I say about the scarf is that it has to happen is because many women of color have a particular type of hair texture,
Okay.
hair type
Hmm.
where you have to tie it up.
You got to protect it.
Otherwise, in the morning,
Hmm.
what you're gonna look at is gonna be worse than
Then the scarf.
than the scarf.
Right. Right.
So
We got
you
to pick.
might want
You
me
got to
to
pick one. Like,
pick
what
one.
would you rather see?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not talking about the scarf. I'm talking about the
Talking about the
clothing.
clothing.
Mhm.
Okay. So,
But I want to ask you a question.
mhm,
How did you feel? What were your thoughts? Because you are the type of person
mhm,
where not too much ruffles your feathers,
mhm,
not too much irritates you or gets under your skin, and you kind of go with the flow with a lot of things
mhm.
because you're just, you know, you're just like this is not something I want to fight over. I pick my
Yeah.
battles and it's
Mhm.
just I'm not going to make this a big deal.
Yeah.
But how did you feel seeing me come to bed with those baggy t-shirts, holy t-shirts, faded t-shirts? Or did you not care? Did it
And
not?
and after you mentioned it on in Thursday's show,
Mhm.
I was thinking, man, what did I really feel?
Mhm.
Because I am there are some things that I'm like, okay, I really evaluate. At least in this season of my life, I wasn't always like that,
Mhm.
but I really evaluate. Okay, is this worth the energy that I'm about to put towards it?
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And sometimes for me, all can I be honest? Now, those of you who are new to this show, don't be shocked by anything I say because I say stuff sometimes for shock value, and I say what I'm thinking. But can I be honest with you?
Sometimes to a fault.
It
Go ahead.
really didn't matter to me that much
Mhm.
because I was trying to get you out of whatever you put on
Whatever
anyway.
it was that I was wearing.
So, I mean, I was trying to fling that stuff away anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm not gonna say it bothered me. Now, that being said, once you came to me and you were like, wait a minute, you know what? I realized I need to do something different. And you asked me my preference.
Mhm.
Then when I thought about it, I was like, hey, you know what? I would like it to be visually appealing.
Yeah.
And I have appreciated that since then.
Mm.
I have
Mhm.
appreciated that since then. So before then, I was really thinking about that after Thursday show. I was like, man, did it really bother me? Like, did I feel some kind of way?
Sometimes you don't know what you don't know,
True.
you know? And so I think that you never really thought about it until the subject was brought up and you were like, you know
Mhm.
what?
Yeah.
I actually would prefer this over that.
Hmm.
And sometimes you don't know what you don't know until you're presented with a
Yeah.
scenario.
I think if people had to if couples had a conversation about it,
Hmm.
I'm going out on a limb here. I would dare say that let me speak from the men's perspective.
Hmm.
Many men, and I'm going out on a limb here, many men would probably prefer that you be visually appealing when
Yeah,
you
I
come to
agree.
bed.
Yeah, I agree.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think that many women would feel that way too. I do.
So with that being said, what's visually appealing bedroom attire to a woman?
I mean, I can't speak for every woman.
Well, to you then.
Um, I think I would prefer, which I know you would never do because you wouldn't last through the night because you get too hot. But I would prefer just just how you do now
Hmm.
over pajama pants
I can't do that
and
anyway.
t-shirt. Exactly.
Yeah, I can't do that anyway.
That's visually appealing to me. Less
So
is more
as
for
close,
me.
I was about to say, as close to nothing as possible.
Yeah,
Okay.
for me. Now,
Okay.
I don't know. Other women might prefer silk pajamas.
Yeah, because that the silk pajamas and that kind of thing, that was, and we're aging ourselves, I guess, but that was kind of the thing that was put out there as being like the good stuff, like the good bedroom attire.
Yeah, was never my thing. It's too
Man,
hot.
sweating ain't sexy. At least
Not when you're
not
trying
prior
to
to
sleep.
you know what I'm saying. Not prior to when you should be sweating. Like it
Right.
ain't. You know what I'm saying?
Not when
It
you're
ain't
trying to go to sleep, sleep for
right,
real, sleep.
right, right. So, but here's the thing, and this is our experience. So I'm not putting everybody in this category, but if you think about the couples that we have had the privilege of serving as
Hmm.
coaches
Hmm.
who have had issues with that kind of thing
Yeah,
have never talked about it.
never, never have they
Although they
talked about
felt
it.
some kind of way about, oh, you know what I'm saying? I don't feel like she's really putting a lot of effort in.
Yeah.
When asked, okay, well,
Did you?
what did she say when you said that? Oh, well, I ain't really never say.
Mm,
Why do you think we don't have that conversation?
I think because we don't, maybe two reasons. One, because we just don't want this to turn into an argument.
Okay.
We don't want it to turn into you should appreciate me just as I am. You don't like me for who I am. And that turn into an argument. One. And two, I think too that some people just don't want their spouse to feel bad.
Hmm.
And so they don't say anything. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want him to feel bad and think that, maybe I don't love him or I'm not attracted to him. So I'm just not going
Mm.
to say anything.
Man, folk be weaponizing that. Accept me as I am
Accept me
thing.
as I am.
I just,
Uh,
I. That's a whole nother conversation.
it is.
That's a whole nother conversation. I don't know about that. Rochelle says the way you balance each other is amazing. Thank
Thank
you. Appreciate
you.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that weaponizing?
So let me give you my opinion.
I don't know.
I believe that you should accept your spouse. I do. I'm not saying you should not.
Hmm.
All I'm saying is that often people use that as an excuse to not put in any effort.
Oh, an excuse. Yes, it should
That's what I
not be
mean
an
when I say that's
excuse.
what I mean when I say weaponize.
Yeah,
That's probably not the right word,
yeah,
but
it shouldn't be an
I
excuse.
do think that people use that as a reason to be like, well, this is who I am, so you just got to no, you got to put some effort in.
Yeah.
Like we get that that's who you are and that's cool. We'll accept that.
Right.
But that don't mean you don't have any responsibility.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah,
Rochelle said it can be.
it can be. It
Yeah.
definitely can be.
So that's what I mean by that.
That part. It
Yeah.
should not be an excuse.
Yeah. So that's what I mean by that. So
Hmm.
and I think that couples, again, this show is really about just throwing a topic out there
And have you
that
all chop it
I
up.
really feel like people should talk about because
Hmm.
again, in our experience, we noticed that the couples who have this issue
Hmm.
have never discussed it, have
Never
never said, hey,
discussed
you
it.
know what, this is what I prefer.
Yeah.
This is what I'd like to see. And not just this is what I'd like to see, but here's why I like to see that.
Yeah. You're right.
When you look this way, I feel da 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 da.
Do you know? I just thought of something because you said that. I think too that, for some couples, there is the oh, it's not always the wife, but typically it is the wife who thinks my husband just wants it all the time.
Hmm.
I wonder if sometimes the spouse that feels that way,
Hmm.
my spouse just wants it all the time, if they dress in an unappealing way,
That they'll lessen that.
that they'll lessen that.
Ugh.
And so that their spouse will be like, well, this is not even really attractive to me. So I'm just going to bed. Good night.
Hey, I hope
You know
not.
what I mean?
I hope not.
I
Because
wonder.
let me just throw this out there for that person who is like, my spouse wants it all the time. You need to change your perspective. if your spouse wants you all the time, that is a blessing from the Most High. Like, let's be clear,
It
because
could be
it could
another
be
way.
another way.
Could be another way.
They could not want you, or
They could want someone else.
there you go.
They could want someone else.
So, want me all day long. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, want me all day long. I'm good. Like, I'm never gonna complain about that, because it could be way different. And then what's crazy is you would be complaining about that.
Yeah.
She don't ever want me.
They
She don't
don't.
never act like
Mhm.
she. Okay, so come on now.
Which one is it? Which
Yeah,
one is
wh-
it?
which one would you rather live with? So
Yeah.
for that person who your spouse wants you all the time, you better thank God for that. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree with that.
Mhm.
I agree with that.
But
But maybe they do. Maybe there is like an addiction thing. That's a whole nother topic.
yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
Whole nother topic.
So I don't have statistics in front of me. So let me just preface this by saying this is my opinion. Okay. I think the people who fall into the addiction category,
Hmm.
I think that percentage is very low.
Yeah, I do too.
I
I
think
don't
that
think
they're
that that's a high
yeah,
percentage. I think that the spouse who thinks that their spouse wants them all the time thinks that that percentage is higher.
maybe. And really what it is not as addiction. It's just their libido's higher.
Their libido is higher. It's not really to do with an addiction.
Right. Their desire is higher.
Mhm.
And as we have dealt with
Mhm.
personally in
Yep.
our relationship,
Yep.
and other couples that we've coached that have dealt with desire discrepancy.
Discrepancy.
Right.
Yep.
So yeah, there's gonna be
There
there
that's a
might be that discrepancy there.
there's a difference between desire discrepancy, which is an actual thing, that is an
Mhm.
actual definition, and addiction.
Yes.
There's a difference.
Yeah. There's a difference.
Camera.
There's
There's
a
a
difference.
difference.
Yes, there's a difference. And so, and that's a whole nother conversation. But
Yeah.
if that is something that you deal with where your libido is lower or is higher than your spouse,
Mhm.
there are ways to work through that.
Yep.
So that it does not become an issue.
Yeah.
Right. So again, be thankful for it. But
Mhm.
if you don't feel like you can support that level of desire, then do what's necessary to make sure that you're working through that, because there are ways to work through that. Matter of fact, you know what? When we have Tanique on,
Mhm.
that's one of the things I want to talk to her about.
Desire discrepancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For our Thursday night show, I can't remember the date, but we're going to have a sex therapist on, Tanique Gentles. And I want to ask her about that,
Mhm.
about the desire discrepancy thing, and how do you deal with that? So,
Getting back to this
mhm,
topic, what is that what you're wearing to bed?
mhm,
Um Now, I have, this was years ago too, that I switched up and I'm no longer wearing the big baggy t-shirts
mhm,
to bed with the holes in it or the faded graphics on it or anything like that, or dingy, just that. But there are days
mhm.
when
Okay.
I do wear those big baggy t-shirts, and I think that we have to give space for that,
Okay.
because I feel like there are times when I personally am just feeling blah, or maybe I'm just not feeling well
Hmm.
and I'm just not up to it. And
Hmm.
so the baggy t-shirt thing is just what I need.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we were talking to Gamal on our Thursday night show, and he was saying it's really a challenge to, his words were, keep up appearances
Hmm.
after you
At
get
home.
married, at
Yeah.
home,
At
at
home.
home, at
Right.
home. That's what he
Hmm.
said. And I said, I agree to a certain extent, but these days there are so many, what's the word, I forgot again, the outfits.
Oh, loungewear, stuff
There's
like that.
so much loungewear
Hmm.
that we can purchase these days that is still super comfortable, yet really looks really nice and sexy.
And here's the thing, though. Here's the thing with that, right? Let me clarify something too.
Mhm.
Baggy t-shirts are not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing at all.
I think what it is, and I'm speaking for myself, when I say visually appealing,
Mhm.
I don't mean you got to be in Victoria's Secret every night.
Correct.
I don't know that that's even practical.
Can be.
I guess it could be. I don't know. But there's still things that you can put on that are
Right.
loose fitting,
Yeah.
that are still, especially for men that are visual,
Mhm.
right? Let's just keep it a buck. For men that are most men, and I hate the generalizations, but this is probably true. For a lot of men are visual,
Mhm.
right? And either we are going to appreciate the uh we're going to appreciate you not leaving anything to the imagination,
Right.
or we're going to be enticed by
The fact that you
having to
are
use
leaving
my
something.
imagination.
Yes.
So either way, we win,
Yeah.
right? I think what it is, though, it's about your spouse can tell when you just don't care.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I think it's that
Yeah,
the mindset, your attitude, more than it is what you're
right.
putting on. You're right.
Yeah.
It
Your spouse can
is.
tell when you just don't care. Like,
You're not
they
putting
ain't
in
even
any
thinking about
effort.
me right now.
Right.
So let me just go on and turn over and go to bed. They ain't even
Yeah.
thinking about me.
You're absolutely right. It is more about attitude.
Yeah.
Your spouse, if they know you, and they probably do, they can tell.
Yeah. So it's not the baggy t-shirt. And here's the
That's
thing.
true.
Now, that's us.
Yeah.
Other folk who are watching who are married, that's a conversation you got to have, because maybe the baggy t-shirt is not appealing to you.
Mhm.
And your spouse should probably know that.
And sometimes, the baggy t-shirt is your husband's baggy t-shirt, and sometimes they like to
And
see you
right. And they
wear
like to see you in that.
that.
Yeah.
So,
So I think it's a good conversation to have.
mhm.
Like a lot of these conversations that we have on Saturday nights. I think it's good to know. Well, not I think.
It is.
It is good to know
Mhm.
what your spouse's preferences are,
Definitely.
what their likes are, what their dislikes are, what they like to see you in,
Mhm.
what's visually appealing, what's a turn on,
Yeah.
what's a turn off,
Mhm.
and then be able to not punish them for being honest with you, but figure out ways to work together
Yeah.
to be able to make that happen.
Yeah. I
Because you might
agree.
have to negotiate. Let's be honest. You might have to negotiate, right?
Mhm.
Because if I say, you know what, babe, I would prefer that you wear uh matching lingerie sets every night.
Right.
And you like, hey, listen, bro,
That's not
unless
practical.
you try and spend that kind of money, number
Right.
one. Number two, that's not always the most comfortable thing every
Mhm.
night. Then we
Not
got to
every
make
night.
some negotiation, right?
Yeah.
So you may be like, hey, listen, man, I'll do that on the weekends for you.
Mhm.
And then during the week, I got these other little tank tops that I think you're gonna like. Like, have some fun with it.
Right.
Have some
Yeah.
fun with the conversation, right?
Yeah. Even go with your spouse to try stuff on.
There you
I
go.
know I know that can be fun.
Yeah, don't
That
get
can be
stuck in the
fun.
dressing room though. They locking people up for that these days. I'm not saying I got locked up. I'm just saying that's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Oh
that's what
my
I
gosh.
heard. That's what I heard. But yeah, I think it's a good conversation, man. So
Mhm.
that's really, we weren't gonna keep this one long today. We really just wanted to drop that in everybody's lap and cut and run.
Listen, and I want to say this too, because we take a lot, we learn a lot from, often, not always. We learn from maybe our parents,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
To do with marriage, a lot of things, do's and don'ts. And even, I would dare say, what you wear to bed.
Mm.
Like, I get creative. This is
Hmm.
not your parents' marriage.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
that'll free somebody up.
This is not your parents' marriage, people.
That'll free somebody up.
Go look through that Victoria's Secret catalog,
Yeah.
or go look through, I'm aging myself, catalog. Go look through the Victoria's Secret online. Go look through a department store's
Hmm.
loungewear section.
What's the
This,
stuff you get the monthly thing from?
Adore Me. Go look through the
Adore
Adore
Me,
Me
Fenty.
Fenty. Go look through all of
Yeah, dude.
that. And
Yeah,
it doesn't
have
have
fun.
to be lingerie, skimpy, blah, blah, blah. but they have some really cute loungewear stuff too.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So this is not your. I'm trying to think of an old department store. Anyway,
Sears.
see, oh my gosh.
It's not. It's not. Yeah.
Don't go to
Don't
Sears.
be out. Don't be out here doing the J.C. Penney. Like get get your life right.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, shout out to J.C. Penney. That's not a knock.
That's
That's the
not a
only thing I
knock.
could think of. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. So,
Hey, you know what? Here, let me say
just
this though.
just go, just this is not your parents' marriage. Find you look through it with your spouse and find something that you both like. There it is.
I like that. I saw a video recently where this woman was saying that the moo the old school
Mhm.
like grandma type thing, like that's becoming a thing now.
It is. There's a MUUV movement on Instagram. You know the one. I shown you her videos before. I can't
Yeah,
think of it right now.
so talk to your spouse because they may be into that. That might be visually appealing
Mhm.
to them.
Can be. You can make it be visually
Yeah,
appealing.
so
Appealing.
yeah, so do your thing. I don't think it's necessarily about pinpointing a specific thing
Garment. Right.
wear
Hmm.
as much as it is to have a conversation about what is your preference.
What's your preference and what
Right?
can we agree on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it, folks. That's it. We want to drop that in your lap. And if you've never had that conversation with your spouse, tonight is a great time to have that conversation.
Mhm.
Maybe even do a little fashion show.
Yes.
What you think about this? Hey, give me a second. I'm gonna call you in the bedroom. Let me know what you think.
That's such a cute
How you
idea.
like this?
Mhm.
Oh, you like that? Okay, hold on. I got something else for you. Go step outside. Come back when I call you. Like, have some fun,
I
right?
love it.
Have some fun with that, and don't make it a laborious, is that the word, conversation,
Mhm.
right? Have some fun with it.
I think that's the right.
That's not the right word. Whatever it is, don't make it a hard conversation. How about that? I was trying to use a 25-cent word. We're gonna go back down to 5 cents. Don't use it a hard. Don't make it a hard conversation. Have some fun with it because, as we say at the beginning and end of all of these shows on Saturday night, conversation is a catalyst for
Growth,
conversation is a catalyst for
learning,
and conversation is a catalyst for
bonding.
and I hope that you want to learn about your spouse. I hope you
Absolutely.
want to grow with your spouse, and I hope you want to bond with your spouse. All right?
You're always learning. I just want to say, you're
Always.
always learning. It doesn't matter how long you've been married.
Hmm.
You're always learning because things change.
Things change.
Either you learn what's changed or you learn that nothing has changed. So you're always learning.
You're always learning. So check this out. We're gonna get out of here, but first, before we get out of here, Thursday. If you're around on Thursday at 7 p.m., we would love for you to check out our show, Inside the Relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Inside the Relationship is a relationship show about all things relationships. And so we would love for you to check us out on Thursdays. If you missed last Thursday's show, here was the title of last Thursday's show. Should you be having maintenance sex?
Maintenance sex. That is a thing.
Go back and watch that show. Some good tips on that show. Matter of fact, if you watched it on Facebook, Tanique Gentles, who is going to be the sex therapist that on our show coming up,
had some great
had some great
comments.
comments. So
Yeah.
if you go to the Facebook version of this,
That's
you
the
will
only
see.
place it'll show up.
Yeah, it won't show up
Okay.
on YouTube because she was on Facebook. She was
Okay,
commenting
got
from
you.
Facebook. So
Okay.
that was Thursday's show. Also, if you are in the Washington, D.C., Maryland, or Northern Virginia area,
Come on out for
we
my
want to see you.
birthday.
We want to see you here.
We want to see you.
We're going to do this show live. We're looking at some live DJs, some spoken words, some different things that are going to
Yes.
happen. But we're going to do one of these conversations live and have
Mhm.
people be able to come
Chime
out of the
in.
audience and give their 2 cents or ask their questions.
Yeah.
It is a ticketed event, so be on the lookout on social media for links for tickets. Also, if you just want to go straight to Eventbrite right now and search it, you'll find it there on Eventbrite
Yes.
as well. All right.
So excited about that event.
We're excited about that. That's the first in prayerfully many
Oh,
that
it
will
will be.
happen around the country. We're
Taking it
looking
on
at some
tour.
different cities that we want to do that in as well. All
Yep.
right. Listen, we're going to get out of here. Thank you for being a part of this experience. And we hope you have some conversation, man. Have some
Yes.
conversation, have some fun,
Have
learn
some
about each
fun.
other, grow, bond. That's what this thing is all about. All right.
Amen.
Listen, enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. And for those of you who rock with us on Thursdays, we'll see you on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for the rest of you, come on back next week.
We'll see you
We'll see
next
you next
week.
Saturday. All right.
Have a great week, everyone. Be safe.
Peace.